Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. This is going to be a very gentle movement sequence, and we're going to spend some time on our knees. So grab a blanket or towel or something if you've got sensitive knees. And we're just going to get started seated. So find a comfortable seat. Close your eyes or bring your gaze down. Relax the shoulders. Maybe rest the arms on your knees. And just start coming into your breath here. Softening your belly and expanding on the inhale. And then bringing the navel towards the spine on the exhale to release each breath. Couple more breaths here, and while we breathe, just give yourself some space and permission to be present during our practice. If there's anything on your mind, maybe visualize it in a box outside of the room. You can pick it up after the practice if you'd like. And then gently start to blink the eyes open here, maybe roll the neck or the shoulders, and find your way to tabletop position. So we'll come to hands and knees. If you're on a hard surface and you have tender knees, grab your blanket or towel to bring under the knees. And we'll start with the knees about hip width distance apart, which is usually like 1 or 2 fists between the knees. And you want to stack the hips over the knees, the shoulders over the wrists. And maybe send the hips back to stretch the quads if you'd like I'm doing here. And then on an inhale, shift your weight forward for cow pose. Dip the belly down, gaze comes up, tailbone pops up. Exhale, press the ground away and maybe extend the hips back on that same exhale. Inhale to shift the weight forward, cow pose. Exhale, arch up through the spine, send the hips back. Find your rhythm here. Inhaling to shift forward and exhaling to come into cat pose and then send the hips down. One more, inhaling here. And finally, curling the toes under and sending the hips up for downward dog on the exhale. Pedal it out here if you'd like, bending one knee and then the other, shifting the weight back for a couple of breaths. Relax the neck and the head. Staying connected to the breath. Coming all the way down to the knees from here. And then we'll take a child's pose. So take the knees nice and wide. Extend the arms forward. Send the hips back towards the heels. And if the ground feels far away from you, maybe you bring a pillow under your chest or a book or a block under your forehead. You can even stack your arms and rest your head that way. Find a way that this pose is comfortable for you. So last breath here. And then let's come back into tabletop position. So coming back to the knees, shake it out a little bit and bring the knees in close to touch this time. On your inhale, we're going to extend the right leg out behind you, flexing the foot down, and then maybe the left arm comes up for a balancing posture. Gaze is down, staring down at the mat, lengthen the spine, and really reach out through the heel and the fingertips. And then gently bring the knee and the palm down, shake it out, and then we'll switch sides. So when you're ready, we're going to extend that left leg this time, and then maybe the right hand comes up for a balance. Looking down. One more breath. Really pressing into the support of the top of the back leg and the back shin. And then crunching on the exhale. Inhale to extend. Exhale to crunch in. Inhale to extend. Exhale, crunch in. One more time. Bring the knee and the palm down. Shake it out. And we're going to crunch on the other side. So right leg extends once again. Left arm comes out. Exhale to crunch. Inhale to reach. Take this at your pace. You can always pause this video if you need to. Last one. Knee and palm come down at the same time. Shake it out here. Inhale to extend that right leg behind you. Left arm comes forward. Bring the hand down and swing that right foot forward for a lunge. If it doesn't come as far forward as you need it to, just pick it up and put it there or shimmy it forward. Send the hips forward a little bit. If you have blocks or books or some kind of props to bring the ground closer, go ahead and grab them here. Take a breath, sitting into that front hip. And then on the exhale, we're going to start to shift the hips back for half splits. So start to lift yourself up here. You're going to lengthen that front leg. Flex the toes up. Bring the fingertips down. Relax the head and the torso forward. Take a breath. Really dig that heel into the mat and use it to pull that right hip back to get more lengthening on the leg. On your inhale, we'll shift the weight forward into a lunge again. Bring both hands down to the inside of the foot and step back onto hands and knees. Shake it out for a breath here before we find the other side. Extend the left leg out on an inhale and the right arm. Bring the hands down to the mat and we're going to step the opposite foot forward here. Same idea. Find your foot placement. Hands can come to the hips, so the top of the front thigh. Send the hips forward if you can. Think of coming to the top of the knee here. And on your next exhale, lift yourself up and start to send the hips back. Half splits on the opposite side. So really lengthen that front hip. Dig the heel down and send the left hip back here. Flex the toes up, relax the head. I'll take one more breath here. And on your next inhale, I'm going to shift forward into that lunge once again. So bending into that front knee, sending the hips forward, taking a breath. And then we'll bring our hands down to the inside of the foot and shimmy that left foot back. To come back to hands and knees, shake it out briefly here. And on the inhale, we're going to step out one foot and then the other for a high plank. So take your time. Activate the core. Press the ground away here. Gaze is down. Remembering to breathe. And then gently coming all the way down onto the belly, bending at the elbows and keeping the elbows hugged into the body. Resting on the right side of the face here. Chin comes to center. On inhale, extend the arms up for cobra pose. Now, if this is too much compression on the low back, keep the elbows bent. You don't have to fully extend the arms. Exhale to release and inhale to press up for one more cobra pose, whichever variation you choose. And then exhaling, coming all the way down to the mat, resting on one side of the face. And then we're going to come into Sphinx. So bring the forearms down to the mat. Stack the shoulders over the elbows. Palms dig down into the mat. Palms down. And press the forearms and the palms down into the mat and back. And think of pulling the chest forward on the inhale. Exhale to relax. Inhale, extend that chest forward. And then let's stack the forearms here and rest the forehead. Crocodile pose. Open up the legs just a little bit and rest on the tops of the feet here. Think of pressing the pelvic area down into the earth. And send the breath to the back of the rib cage. You're going to come into half bow here. So bend the right knee and point the right toes backwards. You're going to lift the right arm up and back and reach for that foot. Once you've got the foot, you can grab the inside or the outside of the foot. It doesn't matter. You're going to think of drawing the knee back behind you. And then gently pressing that heel towards the glute. You can come up on the opposite forearm if that feels better for you. It does create some more space. Find what feels best for you. One more breath here. And then gently release the right foot. Come back to center and maybe windshield wiper the legs back and forth to reset the spine. And then we'll find this on the opposite side. So bending that left leg, reaching back with the left arm for the foot. And then drawing that knee backwards, sending the heel closer to the glutes and relaxing in any way that feels good. If it's hard for you to reach your foot, like for me, you could start by opening the leg out to bring the foot a little bit closer. And once you have that foot, shimmy that knee to point towards the back of the room. Gently guide the heel towards the glutes. Nice quad stretch here. And then exhale to release. Gently swaying the feet from side to side. And then lowering them down along with your head. Curl the toes under here. And on the exhale, we'll lift off of the mat. You can always press back onto the knees. And then up to downward facing dog. Take a few breaths in stillness here. Slowly start to shift the weight forward and gently come down onto the knees. And we'll find child's pose once again here. So take the knees nice and wide. Big toes almost touch at the back. And then find your version of child's pose. Breathing slowly and deeply. Just kind of surrendering yourself to the practice. And tuning into how you feel in your body. Start to press up onto the hands and knees here. Step the knees back a little bit and then lower all the way down to the belly. We're going to come into a twist here. So slide that left knee up so that you're extending the inner left thigh, and we're going to kickstand the left hand like this. We're going to thread the right arm through that space and use the top leg to kind of send us a little bit deeper into this twist. You want to reach the opposite arm to the ground or the wall behind you. If your head is hanging like mine, use a block or a pillow or a blanket just to kind of support yourself. And really relax that top leg. Let the weight of the gravity of that leg help get you a little bit deeper into this twist. So you have your arm behind you and the leg in front of you kind of pulling in opposite directions. And then there's an option here to roll onto the back and to reach for that top leg, or foot rather, for half happy baby. Totally optional. You don't have to do this. You can stay in the twist if you'd like. Hopefully you're not running into a houseplant like I am. But you want to think of drawing the knee into the side body or even into the armpit and the foot up towards the ceiling. Just take a moment there and then gently release the foot back down into the twist. And we're going to roll back over to the side, kickstand that left arm again, and unthread the right arm, lengthening the leg, coming back to the belly, and then we're going to find this on the opposite side. So bring that right knee up, kickstand the right hand, thread the left arm through, and then open up that left arm, behind you. Use the toes of the top leg to kind of push you a little bit deeper into the posture if you need. Find your head support. And again, really relax that top leg. So with the back arm resting behind you and the top leg resting in front of you, you're getting like a little bit of traction in opposite directions. That's really going to help to elongate the lower back and maybe even the outside of the hip. You're all going to feel it somewhere a little bit differently, but you should feel a pretty intense stretch here. Take one more breath. Maybe even one more after that. And then an option to roll all the way onto the back and find half happy baby on this opposite side if you'd like. Easing into it. And making sure you keep the neck and the head relaxed. We're going to gently release the leg back down into the twist. Extend that arm. Roll back onto the side. Kickstand that right arm. Unthread the left. Preparing for downward facing dog here. So take an inhale and curl the toes under. And come back onto the knees and lift up to down dog. Or just press back like I did. Inhale, extend the right leg up. Maybe bend that knee if that feels good. Exhale to step down. Inhale, left leg comes up. Bend the knee. Exhale, step down. Take one or two more breaths here. Really pressing the weight back towards the heels. And then gently come down onto the knees, and we're going to make our way onto our back. Coming onto the back with the feet nice and wide, knees are bent, and we're just going to come through windshield wiper knees. So arms can be however you want, and just start letting the knees settle to one side, back to center, and then the opposite side. And if you press down the top thigh, you'll get a nice stretch on the quads, little opening in the side body. And really take your time. Really tune into where you're feeling this in your body. And then from here, let's make our way down to our final Shavasana. Now you can lay flat on the ground like I am, or you can use your props in any way that would feel supportive. It's nice to bring a pillow or blanket under your head, or even a blanket across the hips, or completely covering you. I like to use this time as a meditation, so let the breath flow naturally. You don't have to breathe super deep or control the breath. If it feels good to part the mouth open a little bit, don't fight it, just let it happen. And maybe just scan your body from the crown of your head all the way down to your toes and see if there are pockets of tension you're still holding on to. If there are any thoughts that creep up into your mind that take you away from this moment, just let them go. You don't have to engage them. You can watch them leave as easily as they crept in. And this concludes our practice. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you today. Let me know if you have any comments or feedback or suggestions. I always love to hear from you guys.